Taiwan investigates a potential security breach that could compromise the nation's brand new submarine. Why one of Taiwan's former presidents is turning his back on this year's National Day. Thousands protest in the streets of Guatemala, demanding democracy be upheld. Plus, Taipei City makes efforts to help women freeze their eggs, but we look at why some may never be able to use them. Hello and welcome. I'm Eric Gao, and you're watching TaiwanPlus News. We begin here in Taiwan, where prosecutors have launched an investigation into claims that details of the country's submarine program were leaked. If the accusations are true, it would mark a major breach of national security. Stash Butler reports.
This is Taiwan's first domestically built submarine, hailed at its recent launch as a milestone for the country's defense. Now it's at the center of a criminal investigation into stolen military secrets. Local media is reporting the official in charge of the submarine project accused an unnamed lawmaker of sabotaging construction. He allegedly also accused an arms dealer of leaking details about the vessel to China. He would not give further information. But that hasn't stopped speculation. An opposition lawmaker has been named by an ex-military official as being involved in the plot. She says she's innocent and wants the submarine project head to come forward and clarify matters. Taiwan's High Prosecutor's office has released a statement saying it's handed down the case for investigation. The submarine accusations are just the latest in a string of espionage cases to rock Taiwan's military. In August, 4 people were indicted on charges of leaking sensitive information about Taiwan's largest annual war games to China, which claims sovereignty over Taiwan and has not ruled out taking the country by force.
They already should know the weapon or maybe our radar or our system maybe have some part is not good enough, so they can choose using this to attack us.
The scale of the latest potential leak and what weaknesses it might expose are still unknown. But the submarine spying scandal has already cast a shadow over what was praised as a landmark for the military's efforts to keep Taiwan safe. Howard Zhang, Sam Hui and Stash Butler for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's National Day is just around the corner, but the event has triggered controversy before it's even begun. That's after former President Ma Ying-jeou said that he's going to boycott this year's celebrations. Leslie Liao explains.
Taiwan's National Day is coming up next week on October 10th. That's the date that commemorates an uprising that led to the formation of the government that governs Taiwan, the Republic of China. The occasion will be marked by a presidential address, parades, and other celebrations. But the branding for this year's event has stirred a bit of controversy. Over the past few years, the event has been called Taiwan National Day in English, even though strictly speaking, the date commemorates the founding of the Republic of China. Former President Ma Ying-jeou took to Facebook to announce that this year he won't be attending the ceremonies because he takes issue with this English branding, saying that the government does not represent Taiwan, it should represent the Republic of China. Ma claims the Republic of China technically represents both Taiwan and China, even if this is something the Chinese Communist Party disagrees with. He says that by changing the country's formal name during the National Day celebrations, the current Tsai administration is advocating for Taiwanese independence. Ma says that these actions go against Tsai's oath to uphold the Republic of China's constitution. Former President Ma Ying-jeou is a senior member of the opposition Kuomintang, which has closer ties with China. But the Kuomintang currently trails in opinion polls going into Taiwan's next presidential elections in January. Now, President Ma used the occasion to urge voters to vote the at-power DPP out of office so that Taiwan's National Day can return to its rightful place as the Republic of China's National Day. The DPP responded with Premier Chen Jianren saying Ma has attended previous National Day celebrations that were likewise branded Taiwan National Day.
我们英文在这几年来都一直称为台湾 National Day。马前总统呢过去也曾经参加了这些国庆的活动。我们希望大家能够团结在一起来参加这一个重要的活动，也让我们一起来捍卫我们 中华民国台湾的主权、自由和民主。
Ma says this will be the first time in 4 decades he will forego attending National Day celebrations. With the elections in January at stake, his boycott may be no mere protest, but an attempt to rally like-minded citizens to the ballot box next year. Joseph Wu and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Now, that dispute over Taiwan's official name has spilled over to the presidential race. The opposition KMT's candidate Hou You-yi had this to say to his ruling party rival Lai Ching-te.
大家问问赖清德，你有认同中华民国的宪法无？你有认同中华民国无？你有要甲咱中华民国永远徛伫中华民国立场？
In response, Lai's camp says he will carry on President Tsai Ing-wen's policies, which mention the Republic of China in 2 places. His camp also says that it is Ho that is undermining the ROC's existence by accepting the 1992 consensus. That's a controversial statement that says Taiwan is part of China. Weather officials have expanded land warnings for oncoming Typhoon Koinu. The warnings cover the east and the southern half of Taiwan now. They join sea warnings for waters all along the east and south. These areas could see strong wind and heavy rain. Several beaches have been closed and ferry services have been suspended. Current forecasts say Koinu could make landfall in the southeast on Wednesday. If it does, it'll be the second typhoon to hit the island directly this year. Taipei is joining other cities' efforts to support women who want to have children. It's launched a new subsidy plan to give women under 40 with cancer a chance to become a mother. Joyce Tseng reports.
A shot at motherhood thanks to technology. More and more women in Taiwan are choosing to freeze their eggs, and local governments are working to support them in this endeavor. Taipei has launched its own subsidy program following neighboring Hangzhou and Taoyuan, which set up similar funds earlier this year. But Taipei has gone a step further to provide the financial support to women under 40 with cancer, giving them a chance to preserve their eggs before potential chemotherapy treatments.
算是受用啦，因为就是给有些女性有多一次的机会，可以再选择不同的未来。
Taiwan has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, hitting a new low last year with just 138,000 births. Women are also tending to have children later, with the average age of first-time moms at just over 31. A third of moms gave birth after 35. Egg freezing offers women some security and increases their chances of getting pregnant later in life, but it's an option that's out of reach for many women. Extraction treatments normally cost between $2,600 to $3,900 US, and that's not including annual storage fees, which cost a few hundred more. Taipei is offering almost $1,000 in subsidies per woman, the highest government package so far. But some are not convinced this program will be helpful.
对我们少子化整体的趋势来讲，其实并没有太大帮助，但是很可能会花费我们纳税人非常多的钱。
Gender rights advocates have also pointed out that while single women can freeze their eggs, the law requires them to be married to a man to use them. This excludes not just single women, but also same-sex couples from using their frozen eggs to have children. With Taiwan rapidly becoming a super-aged society, the central government will have to reconsider rules like these if it wants its egg freezing subsidies to have the desired result. Howard Zhang and Joyce Sen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has added more medals to its tally at the Asian Games in Hangzhou, China. In the men's 200-meter dash, sprinter Yang Chunhan won a bronze medal. He beat out Qatar's Femi Ogunode by just 1/100th of a second. He is the first Taiwanese athlete to receive a medal on the track at this year's Games. Taiwan also claimed bronze in softball, defeating the Philippines 3-2 in the third-place playoff game. Meanwhile, in esports, the country earned third place in the video game PUBG. On the medals table, China holds strong at number 1, followed by Japan and South Korea. Taiwan, competing as Chinese Taipei, is also riding high in 6th place. After the break, we take a look at Southeast Asia's first high-speed railway and its implications.
For more stories from Taiwan that are a real home run, please download the TaiwanPlus app.
In the face of adversity,
The power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world. Charted by the freest country in Asia.
5, 4, 3, 2.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Ian Kavat. Taiwanese semiconductor giant TSMC.
Public buses to be electric by 2030. A mission that begins with listening.
And telling the stories of Taiwan.
In Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Drawing insight from original thinkers.
And sharing it with the world. TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Turning now to world news, Guatemalans are demanding the resignation of the country's attorney general. As Rosie Greninger reports, this comes after attempts by state prosecutors to suspend the transition of power to the newly elected president, Bernardo Arévalo.
Thousands of people in Guatemala block highways, while others sit in defiance outside the public prosecutor's office, lighting fires, saying they won't leave until Attorney General Consuelo Porras stands down. The uproar comes after chaotic scenes over the weekend, where prosecutors stormed the electoral court to seize vote tallies from the recent presidential election.
A ver todo cómo lo dejaron porque nosotros no somos garantes ya de ningún acto. Se llevaron todas las cajas con todos los resultados.
The raid was part of an investigation into accusations of voting fraud, backed by the Attorney General, despite no clear evidence.
Cuando vienen con vehículos con placas tapadas, cubiertas, dice uno, ¿son autoridad o qué son?
The new president-elect, who campaigned against corruption, has labelled it a coup to try and stop him from assuming power next January.
Legalmente, constitucionalmente, no existe duda ni posibilidad.
Bernardo Arévalo won the presidential race in a landslide in August, gathering 58% of votes. It was a stunning victory in a contest plagued by controversy. The state previously disqualifying several candidates who spoke out against corruption. And voters say prosecutors' latest move is politically motivated to keep power in the hands of the Conservative Party.
Que sean realmente destituidos totalmente de sus cargos. Y queremos que Guatemala continúe con el proceso de la democracia.
Guatemala has diplomatic relations with Taiwan, and the newly elected president says he has no plans to alter the country's ties. Taiwan's foreign ministry says it respects the election outcome, but has not commented on the current suspension of power. Although Bernardo Arévalo's path to power is unclear, voters have spoken, and the citizens of Guatemala are expecting their choices to be respected. Chris Ma and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Pope Francis has suggested that it may be possible to bless same-sex unions. He made those comments in response to cardinals who had asked him to clarify his stance on the LGBTQ community. Pope Francis discouraged excluding people and said any requests for blessings should be considered. This is a major step toward the inclusion of LGBTQ Catholics in the Church. A new plant exhibition called Breaking the Binary has opened in the UK's Kew Gardens. It showcases the gender fluidity inherent in nature. Sally Jensen has more.
Nature is queer. Take, for example, the field pumpkin flower, the pitcher plant, or the wild pansy. None of them are male or female, they're both. This is Breaking the Binary's temporary garden display, part of the Queer Nature Autumn Festival at the UK's Kew Gardens. The exhibition features species that reproduce in ways that challenge binary language, like the words male and female usually used to describe plants.
We are highlighting some of the incredible things that happen in nature, some of those plants and fungi that sort of challenge traditional expectations, and really looking at the diversity and amplifying queer voices through that.
Some plants are only male or female, but most have both female and male structures. They're hermaphrodites. In botany, this diversity is crucial for adaptation and survival. By having different traits, plants can better meet the challenges of different environments, and gender is no exception.
The overwhelming response actually has been, people have been really moved by it. I think a lot of people haven't really known until they walked through the doors what they were really going to see.
And for many, once they have walked through the doors, they will see the beauty in breaking the botanical binary. Joseph Wu and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
The first high-speed railway in Southeast Asia has begun operations in Indonesia. But it's more than just a new transport link. It's also a sign of China's growing influence in the region. Tiffany Wong has more.
Wush is the name of the train. That's the first high-speed train in Indonesia and all of Southeast Asia. The $7.3 billion railway was backed by China as part of its Belt and Road Initiative, an infrastructure project that has pumped money into dozens of countries.
这条铁路呢，也就意味着在世界上，除了我们中国具有350公里运行速度之外的，第二个在印尼的运行350公里时速的这样一条高速铁路。
The new high-speed railway can reach speeds of almost 350 kilometers per hour and brings passengers from Jakarta to Bandung in just over 30 minutes. That's usually a 3-hour drive. But getting this train line up and running has not been a smooth ride. The railway was delayed from its initially planned opening in 2019 due to land disputes, and also overran its budget by more than $1 billion. And then there's China's involvement. Critics of Beijing say building infrastructure isn't the only aim of the Belt and Road projects.
Because of the lack of standard and that of actual requirement from the Chinese side, so usually a lot of money got wasted. And it could also be argued that in certain cases, China was actually using, this kind of investment project to increase their influence.
Japan also bid on the project, but lost out to China. Beijing has invested over $227 billion on transportation projects since the Belt and Road Initiative was announced 10 years ago. Regardless of motive, Indonesians can point to the region's first high-speed rail as proof that the partnership was worthwhile. Transportation authorities are now considering extending the railway eastward, a project Chinese companies are likely to bid for once again. Justin Wu and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
As one of Taiwan's biggest allies, the U.S. is a major focus of the country's diplomatic efforts. While the government here works to improve ties, a long-running advocacy group in Washington, D.C. is trying to bring Taiwan-related issues to top U.S. officials. Our reporter Eric Tsai follows them to Capitol Hill.
Exiting what they hope is a successful meeting, this team of Taiwanese Americans have met with staffers for U.S. Senator Ed Markey. Up for discussion, inviting Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen to visit the U.S. 90 other Taiwanese Americans are holding similar meetings, talking about an array of Taiwan-related topics here in Washington, D.C. All this is aimed at one thing: increasing U.S. recognition of Taiwan. These people are members of the Formosan Association for Public Affairs, or FAPA. FAPA's stated mission is to make sure Taiwan-related issues are heard not just in the U.S. Capitol, but all over the nation.
We like to rock the boat. We want to create havoc, as long as it is meant to forward Taiwan as a full independent country.
The organization has 44 chapters across the U.S. with members from all walks of life. Since they're not professional diplomats or lobbyists, they learn how to advocate for Taiwan at FAPA's annual 3-day conference.
Why can the United States not afford to let Taiwan be swallowed up by China?
The first 2 days are spent learning the basics of U.S. Taiwan policies. Members also practice how to speak to congressional aides through mock interviews.
Legislative assistant for Representative John Doe. Nice to meet you.
On the third day, they put their skills to the test on Capitol Hill. This year is a mix of veterans and rookies. Zhong Jiajun, a freelance consultant from Boston, attended her first conference 13 years ago.
Back then, advocating for Taiwan was not easy. Like, wasn't a very popular activity. You know, it's hard to get other people involved, but I think this nationwide network was what really motivated me.
Zhong is taking the lead to help newcomers like first-time attendee Ke Yi-an, a lawyer from Boston. She was inspired to sign up after wanting to do so for many years.
But this time, I think what really inspired me to join this year, despite work and everything, was because I saw how much the Taiwanese government has done to further U.S.-Taiwan relations, and especially in Massachusetts, I've met a group of really dedicated Taiwanese Americans that have been doing their best to sort of doing grassroots activities to improve relations.
Despite its diverse membership, FAPA does not represent the full political spectrum in Taiwan. It has strong links to the ruling Democratic Progressive Party and pushes mainly for causes from the Green or pro-independence political camp in Taiwan. Through FAPA, dozens of Taiwanese Americans are bringing Taiwan-related issues directly to U.S. lawmakers. By building these connections, they hope to strengthen U.S.-Taiwan relations, one meeting at a time. This is Yijin Liao, Eric Tsai in Washington, D.C. for TaiwanPlus.
There's a new trend among rickshaw pullers in Japan. Women are breaking into the profession. They're smashing stereotypes and winning online fame along the way. John Van Triest has this report.
On a hot Tokyo afternoon, Akimoto Yuka is hard at work. All day long, she pulls a cart with paying passengers called a rickshaw, the pre-car ancestor of today's taxi. Though today's Japan is the land of the car, rickshaws are still popular with tourists. Pulling one of these carts is a tough job. Even without passengers, the carts weigh around 250 kilograms. Pullers run an average of 20 kilometers a day in all weather, and they also need to have charm and all the skills of a tour guide. Akimoto says when she started the job more than 2 years ago, she stood out.
やっぱりまだ男性の仕事っていう世間の印象が強いので、遠方から来られた方とかは、女の子なのに人力車やってるよみたいな感じで外から見られることも結構ある。
But more and more, women are showing their male counterparts that when it comes to pulling carts, they can be a force to be reckoned with. 30% of cart pullers at her company are now women. And the owner says social media is helping attract more to the profession.
最初にいた子がかっこよかったんですよ。で SNS で発信したところ、それについてこう来てくれる子がたくさんいて、そこから今25人ぐらいの女性まで増えたんで、これからももっともっと在籍今90なんですけど、もっともっと増やしていかないと。
Women who find their calling as rickshaw pullers say they can still run up against stereotypes. But the trend is clear. Women are here to stay.
もちろん友達とか家族とか親戚から反発的な意見もたくさんもらったんですけど、1年前に乗った時のドライバーさんからこう SNS もやってるよって教えてもらって、それ覗いてみた時にその女性の方が頑張って研修してデビューしてるっていう動画だったり、その画像っていうのをたくさん見て、これ私も頑張ればできるっていう風に自信につながって応募するきっかけになりました。
Many get repeat customers, even some so pleased with their tour that they ask for them by name whenever they visit Tokyo. This can lead to big money, around 3 times Japan's average monthly salary for the most in-demand pullers. And now rickshaw pulling is a profession where women, who were once excluded, are leaving their mark. Joseph Wu and John Van Triest for TaiwanPlus.
Dogs are well known for being able to sniff out people trapped in rubble. But this team is working with archaeologists to unearth ancient treasures at excavation sites. Our reporter Philip Fassard has the details.
These dogs are looking for humans, but they won't be finding any disaster survivors. They're looking for ancient bones, some nearly 3,000 years old. This German team is known as the Archaeodogs. They are sniffing out remains thought to be from the Iron Age and early Celtic period near Munich in southern Germany.
Die Archaeodogs kommen bei uns immer wieder mal, einfach wenn wir Bereiche haben, wo wir abklären wollen, könnten das Bestattungen sein oder nicht. Wir haben hier einige Ecken, 2, 3, wo wir sagen, das könnte eine Bestattung sein. Und dann lassen wir einfach mal die Archaeodogs gucken oder riechen. ob da tatsächlich was sein könnte. Wir können das auch einfach so aufmachen und wissen es dann. Aber es ist immer ganz gut, im Vorfeld zu wissen, was auf einen zukommt.
The dogs are let loose on excavation sites to search for anything they find interesting. They bark when they find something, and then a second dog will come to confirm whether there is anything underground.
Also Bonja hat ja hier jetzt angezeigt, zwar ohne Bellen, aber deutlich hingesetzt und angezeigt, dass hier ein Geruch ist, ein Knochengeruch. Das kann jetzt ein Restgeruch aus den Grabkammern sein. Das kann auch sein, dass sich in dem Aushub noch Knochenmaterial mit befindet. Und jetzt holen wir den zweiten Hund, verraten dem Hundeführer aber nicht das Ergebnis von Bonja und überprüfen das.
Archaeo dogs undergo 2 years of training. They have to be able to detect over 90% of bones up to 14 meters deep.
Ja, ich glaube, das ist eben nicht nur die sinnvolle Aufgabe für den Hund, weil der Hund ist dadurch natürlich völlig ausgelastet und völlig zufrieden und glücklich, sondern jeder muss auch irgendwie so ein bisschen Verrücktheit haben nach Geschichte, nach Archäologie.
These dogs are doing the heavy lifting on this job. But when you give a dog a bone, everyone is happy. Chris Ma, Sandy Chi, and Philip Broussard for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for joining us here on TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, enjoy these images of this adorable endangered Sumatran rhino that was recently born in Indonesia. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. See you next time.